Okay, it looks like there was a lag. We got everybody logged in. Well, thank you again for joining us at a different time here than we normally do at 2 o'clock. We're pushing it back an hour to switch things up a little bit, but very happy for you to attend. Appreciate you taking the time. We're going to get on to our main presentation today and our guest, wonderful speaker, Megan Easton here with Ibexis shortly. I'm going to go through a little commercial on IAMS for those of you that are new or kicking the tires with us. This will be a chance for you to write down some notes for your primary contact here or for me if you have questions. And then also, if you're already doing business with us, you may have something that jogs your memory in here as well. And then we'll get on to the main presentation. So appreciate you attending. Those that are joining us new, would like to mention right off front, we have packages and programs put together for every advisor that we collaborate with. At every stage of the client relationship. And much like you probably do in your client experience, in your practice, with our client experience with new producers, the first we found over years, and I found this to be true in multiple IMOs I've worked at over the last 2 decades, there are different stages to that journey. And one of the most important stages for us with our clients is first 180 days of your joining us. We would like to do everything in our power to have you work with us to write your first case so that you can truly experience the promise that we've given, which is our service, obviously getting our start. And we've also, quite frankly, found relationships that start within that first 180 days with a piece of business last longer than others. Imagine that. So we want to help, but we're also going to help compensate you for that too, because we're welcoming you aboard on the team. You may have existing marketing programs that you're paying for that are going forward. You may have new items by meeting IAMS that you want to integrate into your practice or your client experience. These dollar amounts that I'm about to mention can go towards those. So essentially in your first 180 days with us, when you write 100,000 to $1 million, I've got different levels here in premium for annuities, or 10,000 or a tenth of that for target life insurance premium, we're going to give you the following packages. And we'll just focus in here on the 250 level for now. So first 180 days, you get to 250,000 of fixed indexed annuity premium. Unfortunately, we can't do much for the FIA immediate annuity or MYGA market other than actually on this program we can. For MYGAs it works, but not for SPIAs. So get to 250,000 in premium and you get your choice. One, we can work with you on a marketing program that you're already working on. Like I mentioned, you may have workshops you're doing, or maybe you're involved in the federal market. We give you a $2,000 marketing reimbursement, and that will pay for leads or anything that you've got cost-wise, or a 3,000-piece postcard mailing if you were needing a postcard mailing for your event or a lead program, or a $1,500 cash Visa gift card in which you can take both Megan and myself out to an awesome steak dinner. And another option or would be a newspaper ad, marketing collateral, and a micro site, as well as a personalized brochure talking about the services within your practice, a fact finder, all marketed or imaged to fit your practice. So similar choices on each one of these levels. If you have a question about where you're at in the 180 days, how this works, what your marketer could be doing to help you out, your primary contact here would be a great place to start, or myself if you don't have one. And we'll get you a copy at the end of this of the new producer program so you can look at those details directly. So in addition to that, if you refer a producer to us, we're talking about many of you may be on the call today were referred to us. We appreciate and grow our business by referrals, no different than any business. Yours no different. We're going to pay you for those referrals. And the way we do that is we're going to pay you a couple different ways. First, you'll get one $50 check sent to you, $50 in cash, once my team meets with your referral and gets them licensed. So once they contract with an IAMS carrier, we're going to give you $50. We'll handle all the work. Just refer them to us, somebody that works like you, that we already like working with and that we can possibly help that you know of. In addition to that, when they write business going forward, the sky's the limit. Thousands can go into your pocket because all your referrals, once they start with us, you're going to get paid on their business, essentially like an override. Not going to come out of the producer you referred's pocket, not going to come out of your pocket. It's coming out of our pocket for the appreciation of the referral, and that's for the lifetime of their relationship with IAMS. So the way that works is on indexed annuities, it's 0.20%, some basis points in there, and that just continues to add up, all your referrals. So thank you for those. And if you have a referral to send in, just let your contact know or myself. Marketing reimbursement. Once you're on board with us and you've passed your 180 days, you now have access to just the ongoing, what we'll call marketing accounts with IAMS. So for every 100,000 in premium, of annuity premium, indexed annuity premium, $100 marketing reimbursement credit gets put into your account. It's $200 per 100,000 of single premium life, like through Baltimore Life, or many of you may be using the National Western product or the One America product, Asset Care, or $200 per $10,000 in target premium. So if you're doing index universal life, the Life Pro or North American F&G, that's going to count too. Mixture of that business. That account does not expire. It continues to build and it can be used towards marketing programs to help get you in front of markets like the federal market, annuity owners, and any of IAM's current programs we're working on. As you do business with us, we like to pride ourselves in the experience those that work with us have on our service side. So we will handle your cases from beginning to the commission payout and beyond. So in addition to that, we'll work on your service. Right now, we're doing a lot of, we'll talk about it here, I'm sure, as Megan gets going, but we're seeing a lot of replacement business or a lot of annuity evaluation where we're having people upgrade their current annuity. And with that goes us proactively working with you. We can send you a list of all your clients to date with IAMS with policy numbers. Look up all the statement information, discuss with you the replacement rules with carriers like Ibexis to make sure that you are working smarter, not harder. IAMS website, if you want to catch us after hours, and on our website, definitely if you get out there, I can tell you this, number one place that is often not looked at is the Sales Resource Library. If you're registered, get in there, go to support and the Sales Resource Library. In there, you can pick a topic. This is an information service where everything from taxes all the way through estate planning setups, long-term care, any topic, even property and casualty, buy-sell agreements. You can type that in and get a complete educational brochure put together for your client or prospect that makes you look as professional as they believe you are to be, and you are. In addition to that, you can upload your logo and have it customized to you. So I find this very helpful throughout the day. We use it here, and it is available on our website, free of cost. In addition to that, everything else you see here, check it out. Be happy to go through an orientation with you. We are set up for e-application, Firelight, iPipeline for our life insurance for the most part, and Sunfire now as well. Companies coming on board constantly on that. And in addition to that, we've got new carriers. That list probably needs to be updated, but working on it there. Creative marketing solutions. So in-house, we have a advertising team that we pay for. They're on my benefits packages. We pay them like a normal employee. Pay them the whole boat, which if you're offering health insurance to your employees, you know how fun that is and benefits, but we do it for good reason. They are professionals, and they're professionals in our industry. They work for IAMS. They work for you. They don't work selling sofas. They're not an advertising team that's going to, be great at the local car dealership, but fall flat trying to learn and have you pay for them learning our financial industry, only to find out that you don't own the material they create, which a lot of advertising firms do this. If you leave them or when you leave them, that is their copyright. So that material, a lot of times they'll just turn it around and put Justin Ford on it or John Smith, change the name to protect the innocent. You help them learn the financial services field. These are things that used to go on. One of the reasons we got away from that with the IMOs I worked with and with IAMS, we own the team works with us, and they know your business like anybody else. So in that department, everything from a business card all the way through video sales letters, fully operational websites that tie back to anything that you may be doing on your securities business, logo design, sky's the limit. Upgrading your social media and doing consulting on social media advertising. If you have a marketing project you're working on to get your name out there, let your primary contact or IAMS know, because the production that you're putting with us pays for that team. We want to make sure that you know how much you're working with so that you can get the help you need. Those of you out there that are considering being able to not have to deal with transfer companies anymore and push a button when you want to ACAT money over when the insurance company's ready for it, or those of you that want to make more revenue, have a sellable practice later, ongoing relationships, build more of the wealth pie with the client, share more wallet share, and they're considering getting your Series 65 IMES is in that market. We have IMES Wealth Management. It's our corporate RIA, and where we're different, low fees, a affinity and a love for indexed annuities and annuity products, and it's a broker-dealer, or not a broker-dealer, a RIA that you can attach to. If you're getting your license, we have a lot of people right now that are wanting to get their 65. We'll help you everything from opening your window to getting your first books from Kaplan, all the way through setting up your office and moving and integrating those accounts over. And while you're transitioning, we can work with your accounts to start accumulating and getting those assets moved over while you're studying. So if you want to, if you have a question about IMES Wealth Management, give us a call. We'll get you on the phone with Duncan over at our IMES Wealth Management team, and he'll be able to go through all the details with you. If you have not already got on the waiting list or the approval list for our Life and Annuity Academies, do so. They're back. Let us know on this webinar. You can email me. We'll get you added. Our first one's coming up here, partnering with, I believe, Athene, and that is going to be in coming up here in May. And so we'll get the information out here momentarily. It was supposed to be on here, but those are great opportunities to rub elbows with other producers, share ideas, hear what's really going on the street, but also in the midst of a learning environment like no other, covering everything from business insurance concepts, wealth transfer tools, how to put together a marketing strategy and have it tie back to your client experience, but all in a room where you have leaders that have done that, people just like you doing the business like you do that have done that already with our programs. So they're there to answer questions, and you also get to see that material. So if you haven't already, go ahead and get registered for that event. Those are time tested. Check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and the other one that needs to be added on here is YouTube, IMES YouTube. A lot of great resources on our website. If you have a question on anything product related, you type that into our search engine, you'll find a webinar on it, and we'll go from there. So with no further ado, Ms. Megan, I'm going to get you on here and change presentations over to your screen, and we'll get started with our key speaker here today. And
okay.
Let me know you should get a little. There you go.
How's
Perfect.
that?
There you go. Thank
you. Okay.
That's
great.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, Justin. I appreciate it. And thank you to everybody on the phone taking a little bit of time out of, I'm sure it's a crazy, busy, hectic day to hear what we have to offer from Ibexis. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can turn my video on. Okay, there we are. I'm going to move you over here. That way, at least, you can kind of see who's talking to you. So I love this idea of evolution through disruption because I really do believe this is what's happening with Ibexis. So as we go through today, I want to give you some insight of why we're different, why we're doing things differently, what the result is from a product and business processing perspective. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that agenda is. I want to talk about products first. We have a MYGA that looks like an FIA. We have an FIA that looks like a RILA. There's some new enhancements that are coming out in the very near term on the FIA Plus that I want to share with you guys. I want to illustrate to you what happens from a growth perspective when you are a forward-thinking company. And then I'm very excited to introduce you to We Rise. It's a new program that we just launched last week. So with that, I want to start with Ibexis. I'm not going to go into a deep dive, the inner workings of Ibexis. What I want to show you, though, is the importance of the timeline. Ibexis has been in the market under that brand name for almost 2 years now. In that period of time, we relaunched the company. We have 2 new product lines out there, MYGA Plus first, then FIA Plus. But we are a deeply rooted company in the industry. It started back in 1937 as Sunset Life. Sunset Life was there for retirement type of products. In 1975, Kansas City Life purchased Sunset Life. They really didn't do much with it. It sat there, they purchased it for the assets on the book of business and didn't really do with it anything until 2021, where they decided it was time to sell the company. So Ibexis came in at that point in time and purchased the entity. That's important. I'm going to come back to that and explain why. Let's start with MYGA Plus. So MYGA Plus was the first contract that we introduced to the market. I think of it as a MYGA on steroids. So what you see on the screen right now is the rates as well as the surrender charge periods. Before we get to that, let's talk about basic contract features. It's available in a 3, 5, and 7-year contract up to age 85 for the 3 and 5 and 80 for the 7. It is very accessible with a guaranteed minimum of $10,000 to get into the contract. And then our contract max is 1.5, and that's across the board. If you have a product, if you have a sale over that, we can get a review done for you pretty quickly. There is an MVA in most states. California, just an FYI, does not have market value adjustments, and withdrawals are 10% free after year 1. So the funny thing about withdrawals, it's one of the most expensive contract features when pricing and building out an annuity. So what is happening more recently, our companies are starting to charge for that. We don't do that. We believe that's something that is inherent to those contracts, and there should not be a charge associated with it. Let's talk about renewals. If your client is in the 3, 5, 7-year contract, they have 30 days to renew the contract. If nothing is done in that 30-day window, it rolls right into another 3, 5, or 7-year, whatever duration was originally chosen. You get paid 50% comp on that. If it goes from a 3 to a 5, if you change any type of index allocations that we're going to talk about, that's a new application. And right now it's in review if that's going to be paid at 50 or 100%. For full transparency, we're all pushing to price it at 100%. I just want to get that out there because that's always a question that tends to come up. So on the far right side of the screen, you're going to see our current rates. We do have simple interest on this contract. I'll talk about that. In parentheses is the compound rate to make it easy for you to compare apples to apples. You're also going to notice there's an index link bucket over on the right side of that grid. Those are tied to the index component. The way this contract works are there's 2 buckets. You have a MYGA bucket and you have an index link bucket. The MYGA bucket works just as you have become accustomed to. It is a MYGA. You get a guaranteed rate for 3, 5, or 7 years. Let's say the 5 years paying 6.15, okay? Standard MYGA. You also have the index bucket. At time of application, you can apply up to 50% of your premium into the index bucket. The way that works is any premium in that bucket is going to earn a much higher interest rate. On that 5-year contract, it's 8% right now. So anytime the S&P does any type of return, the smallest amount of return possible, 0.001% return, any money allocated that index bucket is going to get that higher interest rate here of 8% that we're talking about. Okay. So 2 ways that you can utilize this contract: straight MYGA fixed account, or a combination between the fixed and the index bucket. Once that index bucket allocation is chosen, it's locked in for 3, 5, and 7 years. However, the index number is also locked in. So those rates that you see on the screen are all guaranteed. Now, what I want to make sure to talk about is the importance of that simple interest. We do get a lot of pushback because it's outside the industry norm, right? The product is outside the industry norm. I consider this to be a disruptor. Here you have a MYGA that has an index component, right? It's different. Well, part of that is the simple interest that plays along with it. We did simple interest because to us, that's the easy story. That's what makes most sense to the client. And here's where it wins over a compound story. It's simple. You're going to see right off the bat is going to start out at that higher interest rate. The importance of that is during the accumulation period, during that 3, 5, or 7 year, that accumulation value starts out at a higher amount. so it's accumulating faster. If you have a client that wants to take income out of this contract, that 10% for your interest only that we talked about, that income amount is going to be higher than a compound rate because the accumulation value is higher. The other benefit is if the client passes away during that accumulation period, that death benefit to the bennies is actually going to be greater as well. We have a very nice white paper that's client approved that speaks to that. So we have a handful of advisors who sell the income story and go right to this contract because of that. This is a split annuity example. This is what that 50-50 bucket ratio would look like. We're using the 5 years, so the 6.15%. The other allocation is going to go to that index component. Now we're assuming that's currently at 8%. So we're assuming the S&P returned even the slightest minimal gain for the 5 contract years. So at the end of the day, that contract is yielding a 6.28%. When we talk about MYGA Plus, I love highlights, I love bullet points. We have the industry leading rates. You have a strong partner in Ibexis with the A- rating, and that's something we've had since day one. You have the upside potential linked to the index component. It's only available through Ibexis. This is part of how we're disrupting the industry from a product perspective. Our products are different. They are forward thinking. The liquidity options are there at no additional charge. Now, before I move on too far, let's position the MYGA Plus. So number one, the MYGA Plus is for that individual who wants to keep up with inflation. They want the guarantees associated with the MYGAs, but they're not quite comfortable with inflation and wants the potential to earn more. It could also be that FIA client who needs to move down the ladder, become a little bit more conservative. They're aging in retirement, but they just want a little more. They're afraid to give up that gain of the FIA, that gain potential. This is a nice baby step for them. Justin had talked about annual review time, and I know IAMS does a great job of helping you at annual review and comparing contracts and such. This is a product that can be excellent when you're trying to renew any type of in-force policy management when you have contracts coming due. That guaranteed rate is very attractive. The ability to go into the index component is huge. The other way that I have heard this being positioned more recently is we know MYGAs have been great. MYGAs have been great for the past year and a half, probably going on 2 years now, right? Rates have just been very strong. Would we all love more FIA business? Yes, we would. But sometimes when you have MYGA rates this strong, it's hard to get the FIA interest. And so we do have advisors who bring them on board with the MYGA, get the assets under your management, get a hold of them as a client, and then after that 3-5 years, that's when you can start looking at fixed indexed annuities for them. We try to make it easy. This is an area of concentration is when we have new products, when we have enhancements, we create pieces that are easy for you to sell into market. That means that there are going to be social media posts, there's going to be ads, digital newsletters that you can use them in, tangible newsletters. This is great for a flyer. If you do mailers, this would be a beautiful mailer, but they are customizable, so you can put your contact information in there. I've seen them used in signature lines. You can email them out big and bold to your clients. It's to get interest and to get them to call you. Okay, so with that, that's MYGA Plus. I'm going to switch gears and talk about FIA Plus. Again, FIA Plus is different. We have a MYGA that looks almost like an FIA with that trigger, right? We have an FIA that looks and feels like a RILA with some additional benefits. The great thing about FIA Plus compared to RILAs is number one, you're never going to pierce your principal. We'll talk about that. It's a lot of optionality free of charge. And if you are a life only advisor who can't sell the RILAs, here's a product that you can offer clients who have that end goal in mind for greater return potential. A lot of great things. And if you have seen anything about sales and RILAs, they have been skyrocketing over the past year, and everything that we have seen 2024, 2025, it's just going to be a bigger uptick. So the fact that we have something that is comparable to a RILA, but much more attractive from a fixed perspective and guarantees associated with it, I think is huge. So let's get into that conversation. We have the 5 and 7 year that go up to age 85. The 10 year goes up to age 82. This one is up to $25,000 minimum. It's just the way the products are priced and the optionality. That 1.5 million without company approval is just the same. 10% free starting in year 2. Okay, so when we release this contract, full transparency, we released the contract trying to explain this slide. And I think honestly what had happened is we overestimated the number of individuals in our channel selling RILAs. And it's just not quite the number because we have a lot of life only. So we're going to take a step back and say, how can you sell this in its simplest form? And then I want to show you the power of the floors that you see on the screen. So in the simplest form, that 0% floor is a standard FIA that everybody is used to. The 5, 7, and 10 year, that annual point-to-point cap linked to the S&P is at 11.25. 11.25 for a 5-year contract is extremely strong. Even if you didn't get into any of the floors, you treat it just as an FIA contract. We have the industry leading rates at 11.25. We have AM Best, A minus, so you have a strong partner, strong compensation with this contract, and then you have all the flexibilities and optionalities built into this contract that you can have that conversation at annual review time, and there's no additional charge associated with it. So let me show you how that works. I don't want you to look at this and feel overwhelmed. We're going to break it down. It's not overwhelming. Let's take a look at the year 2 accumulation value. It's grown to 107,000. So essentially, the client has 6.8% gains to risk. Remember when I said this is a fixed annuity? Your principal is not going to be pierced. That means the client has gains of 6.8% that they can put at risk. When they put that at risk, when they go to risk on, what they're doing is saying, I'm willing to, in a negative market environment, if we get there, I'm willing to lose 2.5% or 5% for an increased return potential. It's really, if you bake it down to the base contract, it's the client is willing to put their gains at risk for higher return potential. So in year 2, they have 6.8%. They're going to open up the 2.5% floor. They're going to open up the 5% floor. Now, what happens when they do that? Let's go back a few slides. When they do that, look what happens to the caps and the participation rate. The caps jump from an 11.25 to 12.75 to 15.75. That's huge. So for the individual who is willing to give up some of their gain, the upside potential is enormous. Okay, coming soon. This is where it gets fun. This is where it gets fun for me. So we are big on, we are very big on listening to the field. We're very big in communicating directly with our marketing partners, but we also solicit feedback from advisors in the field. One of the best stories I have on this is when we had these enhancements rolling out. I reached out to several of our producers. These are producers that have been with Ibexis for the past 2 years, since our day one. And we asked, what do you think about this? And they were taken back. A couple of them had told me they've been in the business for 20 and 25 years. These are seasoned advisors, and they had never had a carrier reach out asking them what they thought about product features. And I just say all that because when we create product, when we look at our processes, when we look at enhancements, we want to make the selling and marketing of our contracts easy. We want it to be something that you need and you sell. It's not us, and I have seen this, I've done this myself in the past, it's not us from a carrier perspective pushing our agenda. This is one of the places where we are doing things different. We're taking feedback back in from our advisors, from our partners, and we're reacting based on their needs versus us pushing our agenda out. It's very different. So here's what's coming. And when I say coming soon, I was hoping for this week, so I'm thinking next week, the very beginning of the following week. We're waiting for some final regulatory sign-off. There's going to be two versions. You're going to have your FIA Plus that we just talked about. Then there's going to be an FIA Plus with premium bonus. And that contract will have a premium bonus on the 5, 7, and 10 year. The fact that we have a premium bonus on the 5 year is incredible to me. That very honestly was the last ad this week. We were able to get that priced in. The reason why you don't see that is because 5-year contracts, FIAs, are tough to price. And so you don't see a lot of those big bells and whistles on it. This one has a big bell and whistle. Those premium bonuses are strong, and I feel confident relaying what the go live bonuses will look like. The 5 year is going to be 8%, the 7 year 11%, and the 10 year 16%. The non-bonus and bonus contracts will both have a bailout. That's huge for us as a newer organization because we don't have that history built up. When we price contracts, we price conservatively, so our new money rates match our renewal rates, but the reality is that we haven't had that time to build the trust. So the bailout is going to be huge. I don't feel confident telling you what that bailout's going to be because I've seen it fluctuate over the past 2 days. But that will be on both versions of the product, and the spread on that bailout and the cap, it's based on the S&P cap, look very competitive. This is going to be a leading product. And then we also have an annual declared rate. So right now, the way the product works is we do have a fixed strategy bucket like you're used to seeing. However, you cannot allocate on anniversary between the index buckets and that fixed strategy like you typically would because of the way those floors are priced in. Now, going forward, because we heard that was an angst and the field needed it to be there, so we've added in an annual declared rate, which works as an additional interest crediting strategy. So essentially, it will be there for you to allocate in and out of. Now, we will have the bailout and the annual declared rate on any grandfathered contracts that were sold previously. Now, the other big thing is that premium bonus is going to be allocated to the accumulation value day one, which means the client right off the bat will have access to open up those floors to give them greater return potential. So again, next week, the week after, it's coming very short term, huge selling points. Now, regardless, one of the things this contract gives you is a conversation track at annual review time. And I know how difficult it is. Annual review time, the client comes in, you're re-educating yourself, you're trying to figure out what's the income match, do they need the income? And if you're really kind of stuck coming up with something, it's more of here's how your accounts did, but you want to bring value. You always want to bring them something. So what this gives you is a conversation track every year at annual review. Here's how your contract works. We can either stay as is, stay in the 0% floor, treat it as a standard FIA. We can allocate between indexes if you want. Any of the 3 index strategies are available to you. But if you feel as though you want the greater return potential that you see here on these rate sheets, we can open up floors for you. And here's what that means. It's for the person who's okay giving up some returns for some, giving up some possible for returns for greater return potential. Remember, they never pierce their premium. And then you can always lock in gains too. And all this flexibility and optionality is at no additional charge. So if you can imagine this compared to a RILA, it's possible to lose that principal. A RILA also tends to cost, right? There's fees associated with it. And you have to be registered. Here you don't. It's a fixed annuity. You're not going to pierce your principal. You get all that optionality, and there isn't any charge associated with it. I do want to make sure that everyone's aware we're continuing the producer compensation program for 2023 to 2024. It works the exact same way. As you have FIA premium coming in, this is total FIA premium for the year, we increase your payout. And the way it works between the tiers, so tier 1's up to 3 million, tier 2 is 3 million to 8, right? So as you go from tier 1 into tier 2, it's going to be retroactive. So we're going to look back and say, okay, what's that difference that was paid between tier 1 and tier 2? And we're actually going to credit the difference of 50 basis points retroactively on that premium for you. We have the curated trip that was a hit in quarter 1, so we're going to continue into quarter 2. We're looking at production from April to June, $2 million on that one, 2.5 million, excuse me, 2.5 million in FIA production in that quarter. It needs to be paid by the end of July, but if you get to that point, you essentially get access to our travel team. We give you their phone numbers. You get to make whatever trip that you want. Number one, our travel team is incredible, but you go where you want, when you want, who you want to take, what excursions you want, up to $10,000. The trip needs to be booked by the end of December. And then we have our 2024 award trip. This is for production for the year of 2024. We're taking our top 25. It's 4 million in FIA to qualify. Next year, we're going to Palm Springs, and I have heard some incredible things of what's coming there, so I'm super excited about it. Again, we want to make it easy for you. These are going to be updated. So next week, there's going to be a whole host of these for social medias, for ads, newsletters, digital, hard copy, mailers, all available to you. Okay, so here's the fun part. How do we do it? As I talked about at the very beginning, when we're discussing the timeline of Ibexis, remember, Ibexis only purchased the entity from Sunset Life. We did not purchase those assets. That's very important. We purchased the shell and then we renamed and rebranded. When you do that, you do not have those legacy assets. You don't have the systems. You don't have those old resources. Here's what's happened. This is my 25th year in the industry, and I have been in this channel in every different level, literally every level of the hierarchy. And what I have seen is when carriers grow, a lot of issues come along with it. Typically, the typical way for a carrier to grow is through acquisition. If an insurance company or a fragment comes up to sale, similar to what Sunset Life was, typically what happens is the carrier purchases that block of business. And so when they purchase a block of business, they purchase the assets. Sometimes they purchase the system, sometimes they purchase the resources. I was at a company that grew through acquisition very fast. I was one of their first employees, so I went through all of it with them. There was 1, 2, 3, 4 acquisitions in a 2-year period, and 3 of those 4 companies were 100-year-old companies. So when that happens, you purchase you purchase the people, the resources, the software, assets, whatever those assets are. A lot of those assets are distressed because the company knows they're going to be going up for sale, and so they try to increase the value. So what happens in that situation is years are spent untangling all of that. And insurance carriers as a whole, it's not going to surprise you to hear, have old, out-of-date systems. So they're trying to unravel everything and update as they go. And not to mention all of those bad assets that need to be repriced and accounted for. So all of that, it affects product creation, product launch, internal resources, new money rates, compensation. It's impacted everything. We purchased entity only, which means we didn't have distressed assets. We did not have any legacy systems or processes in place. We started day one fresh. That gives us the ability to build where the industry is going. So important. So what we're doing day one is being forward thinking. Where's the industry going to be? We want to be there now. I'm just going to throw out digital processing as an example. For those of you who have been in the industry for a little bit, we've been trying to push Firelight within the industry since 2006, 2008, something in that realm. And the whole reason is what it does for NIGOs. You know, 75 to 78% of contracts that don't do digital processing still have NIGOs today. That number has not changed, which is crazy. Once you have those NIGOs, you have the people power that's just calling out, calling back to the advisors, trying to get client signatures, and then trying to get from the liquidating company. A huge amount of time and resource and dollars are spent there. So one thing we do is 100% digital processing. We have Firelight. We push everyone through Firelight. We have the Firelight illustrations, Firelight applications. We now have DocuSign, which means on the back end, everything gets signed electronically. It automatically reduces NIGOs. It gets contracts issued faster. It gets you paid faster. So a lot of really good things happening there. And the other thing I want to hit on is the overhead with partnerships and platforms. So typically what happens at the carrier level, and you feel is, I know this is a point of angst. So what happens? Interest rates go up, new business comes in very quickly, the pipeline fills up, it backs up, new business processing at the carrier level gets overwhelmed, and so they bring in new employees, usually temporary employees, that have to be trained before they can start processing the business. They are newer to processing the business, and so mistakes happen. For instance, they're trying to figure out 1035 exchange versus direct rollover. That drives advisors crazy. Mistakes are made, and it just takes a little bit to get everything through the pipeline. Rates go down, those individuals are let go, and it's a cycle. We utilize a third-party partnership. And what I like about this third-party partnership is we don't have the feeling, I've seen this too, where you have a third-party partner that doesn't have that ownership feel. We don't have that issue here because this third-party partner also facilitates new business processing for a different carrier in the industry. So they know the lingo, they know the processes, they know the products. So it's very fluid. As our pipelines fill up, we bring them over on the business. As we need to let them go, they move over to the other business. They're never laid off. We don't have that turnstile of new employees coming in, always trying to train them. It works beautifully. And here is the result. This is something that I get out to our marketing partners every month. To me, the transparency is very important. The good, the bad, and the ugly, as long as you're upfront and you're transparent, that creates trust, and that's where we can work through communication. Now, we have been in a great spot. This is our processing and customer service timeframes. This honestly is a little high. February was the last month we were trying to work through some lingering transfer cases from the holiday time, end of the year processing. It always picks up. People are on vacation. So we're making our way through that now. I get caught up to date twice a month with this. And so what I've seen for March, these processing times have been on a decline. But from a customer service perspective, our abandon rate for inbound calls has never been over 1%. The average speed to answer typically is 8 to 10 seconds. 12 seconds is a little bit high right now, but again, I expect these to come down. So to me, I'm very pleased with where our processing stands today, and part of that is because the way that we do business, that forward-thinking growth process. We Rise. This is a new initiative that we launched. Ibexis has been very supportive. I'm a big proponent of female support within the industry. I'm on WIFS, Women in Insurance and Financial Services Board. So this was something, when it was brought up to Ibexis's attention, they jumped all over it. And I'm so pleased that they did, because that's not always the case, right? So We Rise is working to engage, empower, and elevate female sales professionals within the industry. When I say female sales professionals, those are female advisors as well as female marketers with our marketing partners. Sales folks, they sell, number one, they sell themselves, they sell a product, a deliverable, and they serve others. So the way We Rise is serving the industry, it is different. I say one industry. It is one industry to engage, empower, and elevate. We do that because if we continue to operate as we do today, which from my perspective is extremely siloed, meaning marketing partner, marketing partner, marketing partner. The walls are up, the barriers are up, because quite frankly, there's a feel of recruiting. If you take that fear of recruiting off the table, if you break down those barriers, you can offer so much more to so many more individuals. And that's what we're doing. We're doing it through shared experiences. We just launched in New York last week. I had financial advisors sitting right next to marketers from all different marketing organization partners. It was great. It exceeded expectations across the board. I've done events previously, never had this feedback. They wanted to continue a community. I was telling Justin, we actually have a community happy hour call this evening. So if you are a financial advisor that wants to learn more, if you want to be a part of that community, feel free to reach out. I'm going to have my phone number at the end of the presentation, or Justin has it as well. We also offer IMO support. So for those marketing partners that do have a program in place, we have access to thought leaders, expertise in the business, content, just by where we are in the hierarchy that our marketing partners don't. For instance, Sally Krawcheck just opened up our event last week. I had a female economist, I had 2 VPs from our banking partners, and I had a sales coach on there too. So all about sharing any network I can with our marketing partners. And then the marketer community, this is near and dear to my heart. Our marketers, our female marketers need support. We're going to be offering that to them as well. And here's the need. There's going to be 30 trillion in the hands of women by 2030. And that's because we're getting to a point in time where we have more baby boomers turning 65 than ever before. 2024 is the mark. This is the biggest year ever. It's not 11,000 every day. As those individuals, partners pass away, most often it's the male, the female inherits that money. 70% of females will change financial advisors after losing a partner. That means the female financial advisors are 5 times more likely to capture that business, because women like to work with women. They understand them, they speak like them, they know how to communicate, they know how to frame up the retirement conversation. So if you are a male financial advisor, we need to figure out how can you communicate and interact and create tight relationships with your female clients. If you are a female advisor, the opportunity for you here is huge. So just to summarize Ibexis, the highlights. We are a competitive partner for you. Competitive outside the box products as well as programs. We are a strong partner with A- ratings. We are devoted to the independent distribution channel. This is huge, especially for our partners, our marketing partners. As we bring on banks, as we bring on broker dealers, which is a big focus for us this year, it's all under the IMO umbrella, so we don't create competitive distribution channels. It makes it a better scenario for the field as well as for marketing partners. We are easy to do business with. We are a responsive team that puts customer service above all else. Timely processing, and it's not lost on me either. Ease of doing business, make sure to mention that all of the collateral that you will need is on the website ahead of any firewall. No login required. So with that, I will turn it over to Justin. I will see if we have any questions. If you want to get in touch with me about the We Rise program, please feel free to reach out to me via email or phone.
Well, thank you very much, Megan. You had me stumped for words. Usually I'm a talker, but that is exciting stuff. I cannot wait to see that FIA Plus rolling around. So we'll get some further details from here. But I appreciate you going, in depth on what you did on the Ibexis history. There's more to it than just reading that history when you provide the context that you did as far as the typical purchase of a company. And coming from somebody who's been a part of a big transitions, you definitely are the right person. So I'm going to use that as well. Let me launch a couple questions here. And then as always, if there are additional questions, we never seem to have enough time in life, email me and I can get those to Megan or vice versa. And Megan will be, we can get you her information as well. And we'll go through some polling questions. This allows us to make sure that we get you set up with what you're looking for here. And launch that first polling question. Would you like to get licensed or add, the Ibexis contracting to your available list of carriers so we can have access to that FIA Plus when it comes out, anything else that they may have up their sleeves coming up here. And so we'll get those sent out to you, Insurance Bay, and just add that, and you just approve it when you are ready, and we'll get you all set up. We'll get that one wrapped up, and then we'll go on to our next question here. Perfect. Collecting some responses, and appreciate that. I'm going to close that poll here, and we'll go on to our next question. Thank you for answering. And would you like to, let's see how they worded this for us here. Yes, absolutely. Okay, they followed. So next one, if you haven't already, or if it's been a while, like prior to 2024, would you like to hear more about our updated lead vendors and appointment setting programs? I would say appointment programs are key right now. We've added some interest or an entire program from an education standpoint for those that are wanting to immerse themselves into and become a professional consultant in the federal market. We've added a training program for that with the leading industry professional, as well as lead programs. We've added new video sales lead program for appointments and leads, and several others. So if you have interest in hearing more, let us know. We'll get those out to you there too. And without further ado, we'll go on to our last question. Yes, so if you earlier mentioned the Life and Annuity Academies getting on that list, if you would like to be added or would like that link sent over to you to get added to the list, let us know that as well, and we'll get you added there. First come, first serve, kind of the way those fill up. As you can imagine, we cover the travel, everything to get you out there, and the entire ball of wax here in partnership with the carrier as we go forward with that, rubbing elbows with other producers. So if you'd like to, if you haven't registered already, you can also do so on our website. So go out there, and Life and Annuity Academy link will be there, but we can send this to you proactively. Really appreciate your time today, and everybody on the attendance. If you have questions about Ibexis or any of these contracts, give us a call. Be happy to answer any questions you may have. Megan, thank you so much for your time as always. Excellent partner with us here, and really appreciate what you're doing here within the female advisory group, particularly female client group. Big need there, as well as everything at Ibexis. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, Justin, and everybody on the call too. Hope everyone has a wonderful evening.
Absolutely. You guys take care. Thank you. Have a good one.